commentator at CNN and a superdelegate, that she would quit if the superdelegates determined this.
I think a lot of people would feel that way, or that they would feel very disillusioned or very upset that that the popular process that had been sort of agreed upon could be trumped by this sort of judgment of the party leaders. And I think that to kind of take that off the table, it would make a lot of sense for the superdelegates sooner rather than later to say that we will support whoever gets the most pledged delegates at this point, which at this point we don't know who that's going to be. I mean, it is really open, so that it's not tilting it one way or the other. It's just saying that we will let the process of who's really winning delegates in states determine who the nominee is.
And then what about, the head of the Democratic Party, Howard Dean's comment saying we're going to have to get the candidates together and make some kind of an arrangement because I don't think we can afford to have a brokered convention. That would not be good for either party.
That seems to be, putting pressure on the superdelegates to come up with some kind of plan like this, which I think is a smart way to go. I should say that I'm not really in the conventional wisdom camp that the longer the Democrats don't have a nominee, the weaker they are in November. I think as soon as they have a nominee, you can imagine the kind of intense focus from those who want to defeat that nominee, have someone to go after. And at this point, they're two attractive candidates to a lot of Democrats, and they're running a generally forward-looking, positive campaign. And if it doesn't get too vitriolic, I think that they get to be in that position of dominating the media for as long as this goes forward, and not making it easy for those who want to defeat them to kind of just zero in on one of them. But I think if it goes beyond the votes of the states, maybe even beyond Pennsylvania in late April, then you're going to start seeing more discomfort within the party and more people not trusting the process. And even this very conversation we're having today is not the process, is not the conversation that Democrats want to have.
Rob Ritchie.
That would really just, if I could just squander the excitement that the Democrats have generated around their candidates on both sides. I mean, if this were to be decided ultimately by the superdelegates in a way that doesn't line up with the results in the primaries and caucuses, they really would just completely deflate this momentum that they've created going into it. But I think Rob makes a good point that they may not realize that dragging this out could actually be very good for them if the media focuses on that fight, and it's a positive one, and it remains a positive one generally. Then that could be good for them.
And I should add that I just want to make sure that those who care about the Democratic Party and those who care about kind of a fair process of parties choosing nominees, there's a great opening to make it better for next time. And as we look at the vote in Wisconsin tomorrow, they're voting this early for no rational reason. And of course, they're later than most states, but they're in the middle of a snowstorm and a cold snap that's about minus 10 degrees in parts of the state. There's no reason to vote in February. It's just what we're doing, and it does, like that alone isn't a sensible way to have our votes. We should do it later, where we don't run into winter weather. I think that whatever happens in this year's process, there's a great opportunity to make it fair for 2012.
Well, I want to thank you both for being with us. Rob Ritchie, Executive Director of Fair Vote, Massey Rich, spokesperson for the Center for Responsive Politics. They're both in Washington, D.C. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. We will turn to President Bush's trip to Africa in a minute.